Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. Welcome to Friday's Tarot Chat. And today it is all about the chakras. I am going to share with you a little bit about the Narrative Alchemy Tarot by Chrissy Bentley, as well as selecting 2 decks for each chakra and just reflecting on, well as perhaps, if you're interested, I could expand today's chakra discussion on a reconfiguration of Tarot Through the Chakras, which is a course, 2 courses actually that I taught last year. So welcome. Thank you all for joining today. My name is Sadhana. I am an intuitive reader and healer, and Fridays is all about usually tarot cards, sometimes oracle cards. So welcome to the chat, and know that your comments and participation are greatly appreciated. Okay. And if I do, for some reason, don't see you pop into the chat, know that it's never intentional. So welcome. Chrissy Bentley is, I believe I've linked her channel below. This is not somebody that I found, sorry, I should say I found Chrissy, I believe, through Meg's channel. Meg is Rose Honey Ritual. And it was on Meg's channel that she introduced the Narrative Alchemy cards. And if you know anything about me, I really, the chakras is my thing. And I have been teaching yoga in various forms for many years. And this is, I want to say, more than something I teach. This is very much part of who I am. It is part of my lifestyle. And when I saw this deck, I was very intrigued. And so I went to Chrissy's channel and watched some of her videos, and I watched her introduction of this deck, and it was so wonderful. She is so humble. I really think that this is a very special offering that she has created for the tarot community, and I'm just really happy to share it with you today. So these cards, which are indeed tarot cards, it's called the Narrative Alchemy Tarot. Welcome to Clevis and Dee. Is also a color-based deck. So each of the chakras is represented by a hue of colors. And if you are familiar with chakra colors, some of them will make perfect sense. Others might be a little different from what you are familiar with. So we have orange is the second chakra, yellow is the third chakra, purple is the crown, teal, I believe, is the throat, red is the root. And so these cards, through the power of color, the frequency of color, have the ability to connect with a chakra. Chrissy has chosen one key word for each card that I imagine is intended to blend the energy of the chakra. I'm not really sure her process. I should have interviewed her. That would be a really great thing to do, whether the keywords for the chakras came first and then she matched them to the suits of tarot, or what exactly her process is. And you can see on the bottom of the cards, there is a suit association. And also we have, so here, this would be a major arcana. This is a major arcana. And so each of the cards is connected either to a major or to a minor. And for the cards, we have 11, 12, 13, and 14. And for the most part, they make perfect sense. I can work with them easily. There's a couple of cards that I would maybe put in a different suit. But I think for the most part, this is a great resource. And I want to share with you now Chrissy's practice, which is, I think, a really lovely thing to do. Um, and I'll just tell you in a nutshell, in case you haven't seen her video. So her practice is in the morning to shuffle the Narrative Alchemy Tarot and to draw a card. And I'm going to do this at the beginning and at the end of our session here today. And my intention here is to do this for the collective. So particularly those of you in the chat. As we gather here today on the 17th of March, which is an auspicious day for many people, especially in the UK, or those with Irish roots. It is also a Friday. Fridays are a special day for me. Today, Fridays are the day of Venus, the day of the goddess. And just wonderful memories of Fridays, especially in my years in India. All right, so what is the chakra that we are meant to bring into focus, and particularly what is the key word that will help us move through the remainder of this day, and perhaps this energy will carry through as well for the weekend. And so I am shuffling and cutting the deck, and our card is Fruition. Fruition. This is a purple card. So this is crown chakra. And it is connected to the 10 of earth. So this is a card of fulfillment. Pentacles. A beautiful energy of integration. So I'm feeling today this is about gratitude. This is about calling in all the powers of manifestation. Hi, Mel. Happy St. Patty's Day to you too. So this is, so bring this energy into your focus. Now, Mel's practice, Mel, not Mel, Mel Woolley Hermit also did this tag last year. Actually, I want to talk more about the tag and all the videos that are out there because I have some things to say on that too. But let's just finish this reading. So now that I've chosen a purple card, I am going to go to one of my purple decks, my crown chakra decks, and give it a shuffle. And I'm going to pull 2 cards for expansion on this energy. And I'm using the first edition of, not the first iteration, but the first edition. How can we expand on the concept of fruition and bring this high frequency energy into our lives? My crown chakra is actually wide open right now. Buzz, 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 buzz. Okay. For the remainder of this day and through the weekend, connecting to source in a way that feels like we have this. For me, there's nothing better than feeling like everything is aligned and we are so dialed in. So we have the Lover's card, which is a very powerful card of balance and alchemy. We see here a union of masculine and feminine, active and receptive energy in the colors of red. And in this particular deck, I really feel like the red of the phoenix and the power of transformation. And if we endeavor to um, be our brightest receptive self along with our brightest active self, we will really be able to bring in the energy. Wow, 2 major arcana. Okay, so this is big. And I suppose that the crown chakra likes the major arcana. And also here we have 2 cards of balance. So in order to bring this, I know you fill in the blank, fully forward into its greatest potential, the absolute most important thing is that you feel the harmony and the balance and Can I also say it's important um, to act upon the energy of balance. Now, what you are, does it feel like you have kind of all your eggs in one basket, or you've been putting a lot of energy into building something? I want to invite you for the rest of the day to kind of step back and confirm, yes, this project is so worthwhile. It's in my highest, and spirit wants me to take another look and see if there is a way I can align it in some way that makes it feel more complete and harmonious. Okay. Two majors connected with the issue of balance. Two audio issues. Thank you, Sharon. I'm just checking. Okay. Okay. Bear with me just a moment here while I check and see what is going on. Okay. So this is an internet issue. Okay. It's better when I leaned forward. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Well, I will lean forward. I'm not sure what is going on, but I will try to be present right here at the mic if that does make a difference. I'll just check one more time that everything is as it should be. Okay. Okay. Um, you know what? I am going to get a new mic, and I'm in the process of resetting something up. So, yeah. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Um, appreciate it a lot. This is a very, I think, confirming and wonderful reading that what you are working on, have been working on, is is paying off. And so take this reading, um, and run with it and enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the weekend ahead. And I want you to feel reassured that all is well. Okay, let's the distractions of the internet. Okay. I will do one more reading at the end of the video, and hopefully we'll get a different chakra. Okay. So now I'm going to share with you decks that I connect to each of the chakras. And I want to talk a little bit about the chakras themselves. And uh, actually, I'd like to talk about the word chakra. Okay, so I've spent a lot of time training in yoga and all of its iterations, different meditative forms, and the physical practice. Spent lots of training both in North America and India. And the word chakra refers to literally means wheel. It refers to the energetic centers that live in many points in the body, not just the seven that we most commonly refer to. And when Sanskrit is transformed into, um, what would you say, Arabic script, so Devanagari, It's very difficult in some circumstances. In languages, it's very hard when a language is not written in English letters to put it into English letters. And the word chakra is spelled Chara. It is not spelled Shakra. Okay, so the word chakra is pronounced chakra, not chakra. And in Sanskrit, there are three, actually four different S sounds, uh, two or three that sound more like a sh, and a couple that are closer to the S sound in English. And nowhere have I ever heard somebody who is um, educated in Sanskrit pronounce this word chakra. So I'm not sure where that pronunciation comes from, but I just want to offer that out there. So if you want to connect to the frequency of the chakras, then perhaps honoring the frequency of the power of language can also help your work in this endeavor. So I just want to offer that. Okay. Oh, you're so welcome, Laura. Thank you very much for that. So the root chakra, which is known as Muladhara is one that is said to sit near the base of the spine and in the physical body is not actually in the spinal cord itself. And in a masculine body is located at the perineum. So it would be directly down kind of through the central core. And in the female the connection for the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, you have to go up into the body to the back wall of the cervix. And when you do deep meditative practices, this is the point in the body where you want to ping, 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 and tap into its frequency. This is something that I love to do and teach with meditation. And I just want to offer this because it's not something a lot of people talk about. The root chakra, wherever you connect with it in your physical body, is a frequency that is going to help to bring you in connection with your family, your tribe. And I want you to think about the term family in an extensive kind of way. Your people, the home, the place where you feel comfortable. And of course, we all have a family of birth. And this a family of birth is not always the safest, most comfortable place for people. And part of the issues, part of the lessons of the root chakra is the ease with which we move in and out of our people, of our tribe, of our family. And there's a lot of beautiful stories out there that talk about leaving home and going back home and how things have changed and all kinds of stories. And these deal very much with root chakra issues. And when people become ill with cancers and different sorts of illnesses that live in this part of the body, this is often connected to unresolved family trauma. Um, our ability also as well to feel to belong. Belonging is really important here. And then the other issue that tends to arrive in the root chakra is survival. So any issues of survival that have to do with money, food, shelter, there's a sense of scrambling and panic. A lot of fear lives in the lower three chakras. And so in working with the root chakra, it is important that we bring in a sense of home and comfort. And we want to feel safe. So, safe is another really important keyword here. Okay, so in choosing a root chakra deck, I believe it's one that you want to feel at home and safe. Like it's not one that is meant to be alarming in any way. It is one that makes you feel, when I say belong, but then I go out on the other, um, another descriptor would be practices of grounding. So grounding helps you land and to make you feel at home. You have a physical weight in your body. Your feet are on the earth. Okay. So the two decks that I chose for the root chakra, one is the Llewellyn, and this is a trimmed copy of the Llewellyn. These are some of the major arcana. And this, I have had a new revelation come through recently, and I have been working on DNA and connecting. One of my daughters has done her DNA through Ancestry dot .ca, and what I have discovered is that so when I was adopted as a child, my my family, my family of adoption, the surname, um, and the culture of that family uh, is Welsh. And I grew up as a child listening to the Welsh language. And there were always stories of the old country. Also, on my adoptive mother's side, it was a Scottish history. And I've always felt connected, and there was always lots of stories. And oh my goodness, I love listening to that language. Um, and then most recently, I have found out that my blood of origin is also connected to the same culture. And so what I knew and felt as home intuitively and in my adoptive family was the same. So it's really beautiful. And this is an absolutely gorgeous deck. This deck makes me want to go back to Wales to, I don't know, to find places and nooks and crannies and old buildings and remote locations and tap into the energy of this. So I feel this is a very deep um, and comforting deck for me. The other one that I chose for the root chakra is Pagan Otherworlds. And the greens, the green and the animals, the spaciousness, it's so comforting and so comfortable to me, and I had no idea what a magical deck this was until it was gifted to me and I had it in hand, and I read right out of the box. I think it was a few months later, I actually went and ordered the little, um, not so little white book from Lucy, and I don't think I've ever actually read it. So this one for me it just feels like home, and I am immensely comforted by it, feel like I belong, it feels safe. There's a lot of really it's just a great deck for me. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. The second chakra, Swadhisthana chakra. And I have to say this for all of the lower three chakras. There is a lot going on in the lower three chakras. This is where all of our trauma lives. All of the big stuff that we are working through in this lifetime is in the lower three chakras. And we all have stuff here. Even if we feel like we have transcended the diaphragm and we're working on higher frequency issues, there's always something to come back to with the lower three chakras. And In the second chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra, this is the home of the water. This is the waters that we are birthed through into this third dimension. It's of course connected to the mother issues, our place of origin also. So there's a lot of overlapping themes with the first and the second chakra. And in extension, we can deal with our anything to do with the mother, the goddess, our femininity, our receptivity, all of these sorts of issues can be resolved and expanded and studied here, self-study. This is also the place where we have, in the physical body, where we have two ovaries, we have two testes. This is our sexual, these are the sexual organs in the body. And so this is the place where we look at relationship, where we look at the passion, the development, the patterns in relationship. And this is primarily in our with our partners and so forth, but of course this appears in extension with all kinds of relationship in our life. And so in working with the second chakra, um, and these very potent issues, we're dealing with um, all of the twos in the tarot. We're dealing with the lovers and the devil and anything that makes us look into the mirror. You may have a tarot deck that has mirror as a suit theme. You know, that's a kind of brilliant deck to be working with, the Swadhisthana chakra. Swadhisthana also, because this is where we are birthed into this dimension, is connected to our karmas. And so the karmas live in the second chakra. And we can expand on that. And I know there's a lot of relative terms that we can bring in there. So anything to do with shadow or karmic patterns is part of this chakra. So people often ask, well, if I'm doing ancestral work, is this first or second chakra? And the answer is both. You need to be working on both chakras to work with that. Oh, I want to highlight D's word here. This is beautiful. And I will have to look up how this is pronounced. I will not attempt to pronounce it. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Swadhisthana is connected to the moon, and in the mandala for the moon, um, sorry, in the mandala for the Swadhisthana chakra, the crescent moon is on its side, and then there are two lotuses on the points of the moon. So anything lunar is living here. So hence shadow and so forth. Okay. Um, Good question, Mel. Mel asks, when you say karma, is that from past lives, present, or both? So it is from past lives, it is from past incarnations, but also we are constantly creating karma. Now, karma is not necessarily negative. Karma is also can be positive, right, or neutral. And so we are, depending on our responses to everything that we do, we are either creating new, good or bad, positive or negative, dark or light karma, you know, with everything that goes on. And so I think it's an ongoing cycle, ongoing issues. And what I have learned is that our karmas can be, when we're working with it, can kind of be separated out into the personal, family, and geography as well too. And know a lot of people feel deep geographic karma that needs to be resolved. That's often why people move around a lot, or perhaps they will travel to a foreign country and stay there for a period of time. And in that period of time, maybe unbeknownst to them, they're working through the karma of the land of that place. Some people never leave the land where they are born because it's just a powerful draw and connection. So it's big. It's really big, the stuff that we can work with here. There's more. Why is creativity a key word here? And I want to um, also say that creativity is may begin here, but it's also enhanced in the solar plexus chakra as well. So this has to do with birth and fertility. This is perhaps the conception of an idea. It may be ignited elsewhere in the in a different chakra, but this is the place of I want you to think about the metaphor or of the womb. So this is where things uh, grow and develop. And that's the aspect of creativity that is most potent here. I didn't mention that the root is connected to earth. So earth and water. We also have sensory organs that are connected to each of the chakras, and that may also be a really interesting window into the chakras. So the root chakra is connected to the sense of smell, and that might be something that makes sense, connecting to home and familiar things. Okay, and the Swadhisthana chakra is connected to taste. To taste, yeah. Okay, so the decks that I chose for Swadhisthana are one that you have seen a lot of recently on my channel, including this week. These cards are from the suit of water in the Wee Moon Tarot. Very interesting. This almost looks like a vulva and a clitoris when you look at that card. Um, very interesting. So the element of water. The element of water is also, and this is really interesting because both water and fire also air are huge elements that have the power for major transformation. So um, we need to be working with all of these chakras. So the wee moon is one, and the other deck that has become a favorite of mine. And there's something about this deck. This is Tarot of the Strange Branches. This particular deck to me is there's something about its darkness and its wateriness. There is a sense of mystery, the idea of walking in the moonlight. It's deeply connected to the divine feminine energy. So in this deck, the fourth arcana is a goddess. So we have in the courts, um, just bear with me here. So many gorgeous cards in this deck. So we do have queens, knights, valet, and dais. So instead of a king, we have a goddess of the element. So yes, this is the second one that I chose for Swadhisthana chakra. Solar plexus chakra is a place of development of self-esteem. This is where the ego lives. So any issues of I-ness, me-ness, whether that is hyperinflated or completely deflated. Completely deflated would be in symptoms of depression and hopelessness. Um, when you hear words like, I have no energy, I've lost my spark, I've lost my fire. Really good question, Donna. I'll address that in 1 second. I'll just get a few more thoughts out here. These, uh, these are important aspects of the solar plexus chakra. Now, the solar plexus chakra is also loaded with associations. It's connected to our digestive system. So when we are having any sort of digestive issues, pancreas, liver, stomach, small intestine, this is very much a reflection of imbalance in either excessive or under in the Manipura chakra. Manipura chakra is a very difficult one to bring into balance for a lot of people because it is also connected to the element of fire. This is where we see anger management issues, where we see the volatility of people who tend to react instead of respond, or a loss of fire, where we lost our ability to stand up for ourselves or to to stand in our own power. Right? So power is very different than ego, and to stand in one's yeah, I'm thinking of we work on warrior postures to develop solar plexus chakra, and that's another really interesting topic, and that is what yogic postures are connected to each of the chakras, and how can we work with them to bring the chakras into balance. It's a fascinating part of working with the physical asana practice. There are also mantras that work with each of the chakras. And so each of the chakras has a frequency, and there's different ways we can get into their healing energy. I'd like to address Donna's question. Hi, Katie. Does the Eastern yogic system of chakras associate colors with each chakra? There is a range of colors that are associated, and I want to say yes. The ones that tend to vary are heart and throat and third eye. And depending on the lineage of who you are working with, the colors will definitely change. And some of them can be quite surprising if you are only familiar with the colors of the rainbow that are associated with the chakras. And so it's really important to tap into and understand the frequency, the medicines of the chakras in order to find if you're working with crystals or something like that, or you're trying to wear clothing to support the energy of the healing of your chakra. I have done several chakra sadhanas where one of them I did for uh, 8 months, 8 months. And so I traveled to a training once a month where we did deep chakra work. And then we went home after, so each one was a long weekend, like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, went home, and then we went back a month later. And so we worked on each of the chakras for a month. And it was really, really powerful. I've also done intensive chakra sadhanas where I have it's really, really overwhelming kind of work, done the whole thing in a week. Um, and it's very much part of my own practice as well too. And the colors do tend to some of them, like root chakra, pretty much stays the same range, quite a range of red colors from, a deep uh, blood red that would have more iron in it to um, yeah, to Anyway, lower chakra is usually kind of red. But the ones I mentioned, those 3 that I mentioned, is it really varies. And it's not really, um yeah, I think it would be surprising for somebody in India to know that green is associated with the heart chakra. I think that's a very Western thing. Good question. You heard that right, Mel. You heard that right. So, specifically, the solar plexus chakra, on the right side, we have the liver, and the liver's health is connected to the ego and generally the right side of the body. So, the right side of the body is our active side, it's our doing side, it's our side of control. Over on the left side, we have, like, the pancreas and spleen, and these are organs of, especially the spleen, receptivity and connected to the, higher frequency of the solar plexus chakra, which is trust. And so the yogis teach us that the more we can step into trust, the more we can allow ourselves to be guided, the less pull the ego will have over us. And so, yeah, so control and trust, knowing, always having to know, always having to plan are very solar plexus kind of things. Okay, decks for the solar plexus chakra. This has always been the hardest. That is a really, really good question. Oh, you're asking such good questions now. That question's giving me a chill, and I will come back to it. I will address it. This chakra has always been the one that is the most difficult for me to find decks um, that radiate here. And personally, I want to work with the fire. And if I find a deck that has a lot of color, a lot of energy in it, that works really well for me in solar plexus work. I don't know what it is. And as I was choosing, I wanted to choose different decks because I've done videos like this before. I decided to go with Keeper of the Sacred Bee. This is a very hot deck for me. Tarot of the She, yes, tarot. I've shared that before. Tarot of the She is one I use for the solar plexus as well too. Mhm. There is, and I think I've shared this before. I in the solar plexus energy, um, you you it's like you're coming into your own. You want to be the best version of yourself you can be. This particular creature, the bee, has been a part of my healing journey for a long time. And I, um, there's just something about a connection with them that is a really important part of my process. Mhm. I wanted to go to Mel's comment, and Donna said yes. There are an incredible number of magical connections in uh, the chakras and the way that the chakras speak to one another. And there is an inner knowing in the gut. And that gut feeling does exactly. It comes from the solar plexus chakra, this place of our inner fire, our inner where we trust ourselves. And there's also a connection to the third eye here that makes a lot of sense. Just so I can build that. Do you know the expression, "My eyes are bigger than my stomach"? That's another expression that will help you to understand the connection between, what we see and what we feel in our gut, okay? And I chose another one. Oh, yeah, okay. Where'd it go? Magically disappeared. I also chose, bone stone. Bone stone. Bone stone is a deck that gets me fired up. It is a deck that really makes me wanna work with my fire, my power. Um, ooh, another really good question has to do with, life purpose, dharma, soul purpose, and I believe that lives here as well. And when I am working with um, the suits, it's the element of fire that if people are asking questions about their dharma, their life purpose, this is also connected here. Now, granted, there are other connections as well too, but there's a very powerful part of the solar plexus chakra that has to do with one's dharma. Yeah, and this deck really gets me thinking about that. Okay, so then we cross the diaphragm and we go to anahat. Um, anahat. So the heart chakra is a place that so when we transcend the diaphragm and come into development of the heart chakra, this so 2 words I always share. One is gratitude and one is compassion. And if you've ever read anything, in translation, I guess, from the Dalai Lama, that body of work is about the heart. It's a it's a it's a it's a layer of, universal love, universal love. This is the kind of love where you see an elderly couple, maybe they're walking hand in hand in silence. The love is it's just a way of being. There is so much space for forgiveness and compassion. So Anahat chakra is often so I said we had organs and senses connected, so this is the power of touch, but also the hands. And so, you know, we receive with our left and we give with our right. So in order to bring Anahat into balance, we must be able to both give and receive love unconditionally. And that um, adverb is really, really important. So all of the lower frequency issues of love, sex, and passion are connected to Swadhisthana chakra, the second chakra. This is a place of beautiful frequency and harmony and beauty. And the challenges of this, it's very difficult for a lot of people to transcend into the frequency of this chakra. It really is. It's a place of saints and healers who without a thought, walk into the most horrific conditions with open hearts, expecting nothing in return. There are no service awards. There are no prizes for, you know, working in a challenging condition. This is unconditional love, and it's a really beautiful place to be. Now, um, I another key word, so harmony, peace, those sorts of words here are important. If you're looking for an element, this is the element of air, and there are a few really interesting correspondences that we can build in. So whether you are working through Tattva Shuddhi, which is a meditation practice in yoga, whether you're working through Tree of Life correspondences, what happens is when the divine masculine and the divine feminine, so fire and water, come together, the blended element is air. And I find it so fascinating that this is what happens in the worlds in the Tree of Life. This is also what happens um, in the physical body with the chakras as well too. So when water and fire blend together, we get air. It's really kind of magical that it seems no matter what paradigm you are working through, the lessons are all the same. And so in the space of the heart, getting kind of choked up over this, or maybe I'm just losing my voice because I have been doing that a lot lately. Um, and go ahead and analyze that if you like. I'm looking for beauty. Beauty. I did a video on beauty one Friday several weeks ago. And because somebody asked me, Sadhana, you often talk about beauty and what that means. And I think in its highest frequency, beauty is a equivalent of grace. And when I am working with the heart chakra, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that sense of and peace, harmony and peace. And there are a few decks that, excuse me, cards everywhere. There are a few decks that I feel that level of love of all things, love of all beings. Shared with you my cat story many times. Okay, so love of all creatures. The way that I feel when I work with shadowscapes is like I have stepped into a world where I imagine if we could go back to a civilization like Lemuria or Atlantis, where there was no spoken language, everything was shared telepathically, and we all vibrated at a much higher frequency, um, that it would look something like this. And the tenderness with which the Fae and the quasi-humans in relation with the fish and the animals. It's so magical and it's so beautiful. I always feel, at peace and harmony in this deck. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And I have a new deck that I haven't shared, nor have I even done a complete flip through, but I'm gonna share it with you. When I saw this on, I can't remember whose channel, I was dumbstruck. I I knew that I needed to work with this deck. So many of you know that I lived in Japan for a number of years, and the kinds of experiences I had in Japan were life altering. I was very young. I was, my goodness, how old was I? I was young. I had graduated from university and I went there. I went there and I knew I had been there in many a lifetime. And I was so entranced with the old way of life. I took courses in Ikebana. I learned the language I like it was something that I was just refreshing. Um, I traveled to Kyoto every so Kyoto is the cultural center of Japan. I traveled to Kyoto as many weekends as I could. I got lost in gardens and temples. Um, I learned I took some calligraphy courses. I yeah, I was entranced with the beauty of the culture and the old ways, and when I saw this deck, it's just like, "Wow, this is a deck that" so there's what I'm saying here sounds like a lot of overlapping energy, and to me, what I'm saying here is that deep ancestral and karmic roots come into harmony in the heart space and um, open up something open up my heart wide. I feel like my heart was opened in Japan, and this had to do with deep spiritual connections as well too. Um, I feel like I transcended my ego in Japan as a very young woman. Uh, I've never been so awestruck. There is um, there's a tradition in a traditional Japanese calendar, you have all of the dates of the when the flowers bloom. So on a Japanese calendar, it's not just when the cherry blossoms bloom, but when the rhododendrons bloom and when the hyacinth blooms and the irises bloom. It's on the calendar. So there's this attention to the frequency of beauty that doesn't exist. I've never experienced it in any other culture. And in some ways, this might seem superficial to some people, but there's this tradition of taking a picnic and going and eating underneath the cherry blossoms or eating underneath whatever season it is. Um, it it really is extraordinary, and so I'm really excited to start working with this deck, and, if you don't know it, it's called, um, the Tarot of Japanese Poetry, and there is a poem for each of the cards. So very, very excited, to start working with this deck. And then we move into the throat. And this is another tricky one. So the throat and the sacral chakra are, can I say, unfortunately, they are married. They are so deeply intertwined. And so often issues of one are reflected in the other. And if you look to the mandalas of each of the chakras, the moon exists in both chakras. Uh, it is said that, so we're born into this third dimension through the second chakra, and we are, with the purification of the throat chakra, we are born into the fifth dimension. So the practices, mantra practices, the practices of um, mantra has a lot of frequency. It also heals the heart space, but mantra is articulated for the most part, and the voice is used. And so there's something about that that really helps with the purification of any issues that are related to the second chakra. So through the power of the voice, we can heal sexual trauma. We can heal heavy periods. We can heal, oh, I didn't mention guilt. Guilt is guilt lives in the second chakra. So by using our voice, by sharing a story, by talking about an issue, we can heal the karma that lives in the second chakra. So I think it's really important to know that these two chakras are deeply, deeply entrenched with one another. And we cannot work with one without touching the other. It is not possible. And so often you will be working with one and then something will arise. Okay. No, no, I have not. And yes, I can recommend one. I will have to just pause and go and get it just so I get the title exactly right. Um, yeah. So this is the place of the stuff our family doesn't talk about. We don't talk about that. This is where emotions get suppressed. This is where we wanna hear something funny? In the ashram, locally or India, you're not allowed to chew gum. Chewing gum is seen as a suppressant, right? It keeps things down. Of course, smoking and any kind of narcotics or alcohol or anything like that. So suppressants are gonna tell a story of the second and fifth chakras. We can resolve the half-truths, the lies, the trauma, through purifying this chakra, and, uh, gosh, there's just so many. So if you have issues of thyroid, parathyroid issues, they're the fastest way into understanding this is to go back to unresolved secrets, truths, half lives, half, you know, half truths sort of thing that you may have kept for someone else or you may have kept for your family. It's absolutely fascinating. So this, of course, this is connected to listening as well, to the ears. And listening, I think, is also very important, receptive energy for the third eye. So in this chakra, you want a deck that is very, very uh, swordsy, swordsy. It cuts to the chase. It doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. And, my go-to deck I've shared a million times is Sasarai Bito. It always tells the truth. It doesn't suppress anything. And so this really is your ass-kicking kind of deck. You're not gonna get away with it, right? So whatever deck that is for you, um, is really, really important. Clevis, have we talked about that? Did we talk? I know I've only done one personal reading with you, but I feel like we've talked about this before. Clevis is one of the I did a course last year, Tarot Through the Chakras 1 and Tarot Through the Chakras 2. Yeah. So another newish deck, look at these lovely sides, that really surprised me. And um, after I got it, I had a whoosh, a wave of guys that came for readings. And this was a really great deck in working with opening up one's voice. The Vendur Tarot, oddly, maybe not oddly. Ooh, do I have the book? I'm not sure I have the little guidebook. But I believe that Vindur, the meaning of that has something to do with the wind. Now, it gets really muddy with the chakras because the element of air is connected to the heart space. Um, but there is something about air also with the voice, but technically the throat is the element of ether. Ether. Okay. So yeah, so this was a really big surprise for me. And if I feel like someone is skirting around their issues, um, this is a deck that I will pull out. Yeah, and I have another. Oh, I have a few actually. Um, you all know this one. Osho Zen is a brutal deck. It is. It's a brutal deck. Um, I worked with this deck exclusively for 3 years. I was determined to make peace with this deck. And what you get in this deck are, um, especially in the suit of air, you get a lot of, it challenges your voice, it challenges your truth. And I really, really do love cards like the Tower, where you see the frequency of the tower inside a human body. And so there's, I'm this is a brilliant card here with, the last piece of the puzzle popping in at the third eye. Besides the guidebook that comes with this deck, there is another book as well too. And this deck was, I think it's important to understand this deck was created by a team at Osho. Whether Osho himself had anything to do with this deck, I doubt. It was near the end of his life when this deck came to be. Deva Padma, who's the artist, was part of a group at the ashram at that time in India, and so I really feel the um, like the guidebook was written by a team. Yeah. Anyway, it's uh it's just a brutally honest deck, and it can be very, very hard to work with. It will never let you get away with anything. Now, saying that, it does also have it also is a balanced deck in that it has some cards of deep beauty and peace and harmony as well too. Another one that I was thinking for throat was one that I put away because of the suit of coins. And I don't know if this has to do with uh, my personal, oh, I've got more here, my goodness. My personal relationship with money. Love, love the suit of wands. Coins. There's something here, something here. Um, and Sharon says, I love the solitaire. There are many, I feel like for the most part, I love this deck too. But there's something about this deck that wants me to be more honest about money. I had some really rough readings with this deck personally, and it because I I want to be in the earth. I want to be Gaia. I want to be Mother Nature. I don't want to deal with finances. And this deck kept um, holding me accountable. So if you find that a deck works with a particular topic that is related to any one of the chakras, that might be your deck for that chakra. There's many reasons why a particular deck may work for any given chakra. And I think it's also important to know that not every deck is going to work for a chakra reading. You can go through your tarot library and look at many, many decks and go, nah, I can't find a chakra association here. I was also thinking that Shimonet, uh, that's not how you pronounce it. Shimonet, um, would would work here as well too. Yeah, I'm sure you all know this one as well. I've trimmed this one too, so it looks a little different. This one, yes, I am. I am going to do a deep dive on this one, and just pulling this out right now, uh, I'm thinking, Sharon, this has gotta be the next one. Once I'm done with Philarkos. Yeah, I think this one definitely should be next. 'Cause this is one crazy deck that taps into some deep truths. Yeah, deep truths. All right, let's go on because I'm already well past the hour. Oh my goodness. I thought this was going to be a short video. I've been talking way too much. I apologize. Okay, so um, yes, this one is trimmed. Yes, I have trimmed. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I said I was going to do a reading at the end, but I'm going to actually, I will. I will. I need to bring this full circle. Third eye, third eye, Agnya chakra, Agnya chakra. Uh, inner, inner sight, inner wisdom, clear sight. This is the place of the big picture, big picture. So when I begin working with clients privately, this is where I begin. We begin at the third eye. We begin in developing clear sight. We do exercises to train the third eye, to clear, to purify the third eye. Because without a clear and clean third eye, the lessons of the lower three chakras are just too difficult to do anything about. And I really like this method because it makes things possible and makes things go so much more easily. Yes, the command center. So I should have started here today. I should have started here today. It's and like I said, I've done videos on this before. One thing I didn't think about bringing in today would be to use a deck here where you are looking at a big landscape. So for a majestic tarot, that would work here. There also is one of those magical links between the third eye and the root chakra. So if you think of a deck simultaneously goes, "Oh, yeah, big picture. Oh, but that's nature-based. That's a root." That's the perfect deck. That's the perfect deck where you can hit both the root and the third eye at the same time. Yeah. Um, if you want to fly, this is so funny. Um, in order to do arm balances in yoga, kind of difficult postures, you have to be able to connect the third eye to the Muladhara chakra, to the root chakra. There's something about engaging the root chakra that allows you to have this sense of freedom. And so there's this really interesting correspondence between developing a big picture and feeling safe, feeling grounded. If you ground yourself, you can fly. You know what I mean? Like it's a very important relationship. So this is not just about woo-woo stuff and developing intuition and clairvoyance and all of that. There's a lot that goes on here. Of course, any sort of deck that helps you with meditation, but what is the purpose of meditation, right? And of course, we want to still the mind, but it also helps us to get a clearer vision, bigger picture of life in general, right? Hmm. So I have had a couple of ideas, and these might be a little bizarre. So the deck that I'm doing a deep dive with presently is the Philarkos Tarot. This is also a trimmed copy. Why this is, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Um, why this is such a brilliant deck for the third eye is that it makes you realize how important dream journaling is, or how important it is to take intention into your dreams. A lot, a lot can be resolved in dreams. We can receive a lot of downloads in dreams. And so this particular deck is one that invites correspondences between um, downloads, visions, and applying it to your real life. And I've really been enjoying this deep dive. There's been some very powerful aha moments that have come through. So that's one deck that came to mind. And then let's just do this. Okay. You know what's coming. When I did the workshop with Emily Carding, I've done two with her recently, and this was in the Transparent Tarot workshop. One of the techniques that she had us do was to shuffle the entire deck, contemplating a question or a concern or whatever. I know why I'm shuffling. And then to scry, and then to scry into the whole deck. So to use to use the deck for scrying, to contemplate the layers that are a little further away, the ones that are on the top, which is very much what one does in meditation before you drift into liminal space. And I just think this is kind of a brilliant use of this deck. And I am really excited to kind of bring this into more of a daily sort of practice. I, yeah. And you can imagine with a light box or doing this up against a window, how powerful this could be. So, yeah, so this is a new a new third eye deck for me. And then, lastly, crown chakra, Sahasrara, which is the one that is so difficult to say. Sahasrara. Sahasrara. Say that fast 10 times. A myriad of lotus petals awakening at the crown. My awareness with this particular chakra is heightened during, mostly when I'm channeling. I may be channeling Reiki, I may be channeling yeah, when I'm aware of channeling, and of course, when I'm doing readings, I'm channeling all the time. I just have to like, right now, I just feel the crown of my head go bing, 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 um, and I know things are wide open. The crown chakra is your connection to beyond. It's your connection to beyond. And in chakra sadhana, so when we're doing disciplined practices of the chakras, there are no exercises, no practices to work on the sahasrara chakra. None. We don't do anything for it. Um, the theory goes that you work on the other six, and when you are ready, it will open. And so when I go to the ashram, either the one here or the one in India, um, it's not a chakra that we ever talk about. There are no practices for it. We work very, very hard on all of the other chakras. And so it sounds kind of funny choosing a deck for this because it's not something I would work on, but I feel like why would you choose this? Why would you choose a deck for the crown chakra? I think in reaching out, if you are seeking direct communication with spirit, right? It's an opening. It's an awakening. I'm gonna just go here with Donna. Donna's comment. This is funny. In all of the many years I've done work energy, I've only had one client with a closed crown chakra. The doctor that I was working with asked if that person was still alive. And I think this is an important thing to understand is that all of the chakras, to some degree, are moving and spinning. There's energy that's moving through each of them. So it's said that there's 72,000 lines, nadis, that run through our energy body. 72,000. And where these lines intersect um, is where the chakras are. So the more intersections, the more energy. Not that's not necessary. So um, how can I do this? Say this simply. Also, if you know how many petals are on the lotus of the mandala, the number of petals equals the number of intersecting lines. I didn't know if that's something that you knew. Okay, so for example, there are two petals on the third eye chakra. Two, right? This is the connection of Ida and Pingala. And um, so, yeah, anyway, I'm distracted. I have seen dissections of the spine of enlightened people, and I've also seen where the chakras, like, make imprints. You can actually physically see them in some of these people. Mhm. I'll tell you another story. Oh, this is so cool. So when Swami Satyananda, left his body, um, he so this is the way with a lot of enlightened people, like, it's planned carefully. They know exactly the hour and the minute it is to leave. Like, there's an optimal time energetically in the universe, so the journey is fast. And Swamiji left his body with such speed that there actually was a hole in his skull. I kid you not. I kid you not. Now I didn't. see it, but this was told to me by the swamis who attended him when he died. I've heard it firsthand. This is not a rumor. Yeah. Um, okay. Um, I go to Margaret Peterson when I want to talk to spirit. This is one. And I've already had it out. And this deck is also always on in my rack. And I go to Marielle when I want to chat with spirit. These two are always around and always full of wild and crazy wisdom. So those are my two crown chakra decks. By the way, I had another one for Swadhisthana. I also think that the Red Seeds Tarot is a great deck for sacral chakra work. Okay. I'm going to close with a reading. In support of everything that has been shared here today, is there a chakra that has been under mentioned? Maybe there is a common energy in the group that is present uh, in the universe in general. And please allow this chakra to shine through. So I'm shuffling Chrissy Bentley's deck, the Narrative Alchemy Tarot. I'm going to choose a card, and once again, I will choose two cards to support this reading. As always, we ask these messages be in the highest for the greatest good and that no harm be done. So be it. Same chakra, boys and girls. Same chakra. So I did a reading at the beginning, and it was also the crown chakra. So in Chrissy's deck, the cards are connected by color to a chakra, and she also has um, a suit correspondence. So this is the Four of Air. Narrative Alchemy Tarot. And it is available, I think, both on, it should be linked below. Should be linked below. Okay. Obviously, we all need rest and integration. Rest and integration. And when I think of this in association, um, following Three of Swords, this feels significant. It feels like there's a lot to be integrated, right? Okay. Two cards from the Margaret Peterson Tarot. How beautiful is this? Renewal. Renewal is the 20th card. I think you've hit the nail on the head, Donna. Yep. Hmm. These cards were not sorted for class or anything. This is a total freak show that we have 20 and 21 showing up here, up at the crown chakra. So let's just say that if we allow integration, then the world is our oyster. If we rush through life, if we get lost in our doingness, then things don't happen. It's difficult. We make life difficult. This message also is really, really important for a yoga asana practice in that, and I shared this the other day too, right? It's so important to have many shavasanas throughout the practice, not just one big shavasana at the end. One of my favorite practices I did on the beach in Kerala, and we had this really cool teacher, and so we would do a couple of asanas, and then we would lie down. And then we do a couple more, and then we would lie down. And at first, it was really frustrating because I had never done this kind of practice before, but it was so cool. So I try to integrate this. I teach restorative yoga on Zoom every Monday night. Any of you can hop in. It's in the shop on my website. And this is one of the things I do is I we do a posture and we integrate after every single posture. It's just so important. So I really want to invite all of you to take time for integration and understand how important that rest and integration is as part of your transformational journey. Okay. Take good care. Thank you so much for being here today and have a very lovely weekend. Namaste.